So here it is, the truth test. I noticed a number of months ago, last year, that my ability to get high was no longer there. I tested it out with a bottle of wine, and it had no effect. I pretty much don't drink beer anymore, and I'm doing this on an empty stomach. I've got a total of 8 beers, so I'm thinking somewhere around the third or fourth, I should be getting kind of buzzed. Um, we'll see what happens. You got to truth test things, to find out if they're real. Anyway, it's a beautiful day here in Columbus, Ohio. The sun's out now. We had some storms earlier today and it kept the weather cool. It wasn't too humid. It was a good day. And I got a very important message on my email concerning a phone call that was made that resulted in visits from the police and Netcare. So we got that worked out. Now I just need the 61 phone calls. And we can get down to who's really my harasser. I think they're a small group of neighbors. I don't think that it's some big conspiracy. I don't think that people are out to get me. Although, according to the message, it was said to the police that you can find right here on YouTube. I made the video earlier today. It was said that, I think that the government's after me or something like that. A bunch of hogwash. But it's interesting because the same language keeps coming up again, either in paper form or in verbal conversation that I have with the police. So that tells me that some same story is being said over and over again. And nobody is looking at the facts. Because if they were looking at the facts, they would see very clearly what is going on. The facts. That's all I want. It's really difficult living in a neighborhood where you know that there are people that live near you that hate your guts for some reason or another. It's very disconcerting. And then to not get help from the police, that's a double blow. So then you go to the FBI, thinking, well, maybe they'll be interested in helping, especially if you write over and 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 over again about it. Too busy, I guess. Yep, too busy. Almost done with beer number 1. Let me tell you that one time I blew a .03, 3 times the legal limit, and was speaking without any slurring in my front yard, right in front of Netcare. I couldn't believe that I blew 3 times the legal limit and was not staggering or having any problems. That was the first indication that led me to believe that RNM is responsible for doing something to my brain, where my pleasure center and my safety valve, getting drunk or high, which is a defense mechanism and helps keep us safe. It puts us into a coma or gets us so drunk that we can't put the bottle to our lips so that we don't take in more toxins than we're supposed to. And we survive. That's been removed from me. So they take my gums, they take my teeth tips, they take my friends, they take my family, they take my job opportunities. These are dangerous people. I don't know if people really want them as their neighbors. I know I'm a little bit nervous. One down. Excuse me while I lift it. So yeah, I'm doing this video pretty much on an empty stomach too. I had a couple peanuts downstairs, and besides that, I had some grapes earlier in the day. But I just not really felt like eating much. Some days are like that when you're a Thai, when you're a target. You just don't feel really good about yourself. You try, but it's really difficult. At least that's been my experience, and we speak from experience so that we can share strength and hope. Ash makes the world go round. So yeah, my targeting started about 2015, and it involved people invading my property and my home. And then they decided to invade my brain because they were unable to scare me off of the land that I own, because they don't want me as a neighbor anymore, which is illegal to do. It's illegal. You can't do it. No, don't do it. Coincidentally, my mom had somebody moving across the street from her, where she lives up in the Detroit area. And it looked like he was in recovery too, and that the brother or mother actually owned the house. But there were neighbors that were trying to get rid of him for a while. He ended up dying mysteriously in a house fire that burned the total place to the ground. I guess they got what they wanted. people and their projections. Because everybody buys land with certain rights, which is why you purchase instead of lease. But even as a leasee, you still have rights as if you owned the land, because you own it for a shorter period of time, like a year. But when you own land, you have certain rights, and that is to be able to enjoy it free of nuisance. That means no bullying. It means no bullshit. It means you learn to love thy neighbor instead of let's get the neighbor out. That way we can have a nice, happy community as opposed to a bunch of high school cliques. I know I should stop talking more and start drinking more, because this is an experiment after all. It just sucks the length that I have to go to prove everything that people have done. It's out of this world. And so many don't believe it. Boy, will they be surprised. Whoa. One and a half. You know, I was in a fraternity in college, so I'm familiar with beer drinking. In fact, I was pretty good at it in my early 20s. And that kind of caught up with me when I had my first DUI ever, which is the only trouble I've ever been in with the law, in 2015. Since that one event, I have spent more time handcuffed and in the back of a delivery service for mental institutions to be evaluated than I could have ever dreamed up in my whole life. Yeah, I've got to stop this, because this is a runaway train with like people in charge of it that are so fanatical and satanical that I'm really concerned for my future. Do you know that I was all ready to sign up with Coldwell Banker again to work for them? And suddenly they had a change of heart. I have never not gotten any position of a job I applied for or wanted since I was 16 years old, started working. Why did they have a change of heart? That's what I need to know. Where's the truth? I think that the small group that are using the technology are keeping that part hidden from the rest of the neighbors. And it's a big old secret. So the other neighbors are really unsuspecting. But for whatever reason, they don't believe me about anything. And they believe somebody else. And I need to find out who that person is too. They believe that person about everything that comes out of their mouth. It's so bizarre. And that's the way that my life has been for the last 6 years. I'm fed up. Friends and family think it's all a drug thing. It most certainly is not. I've been tortured, and I'm trying to get it to stop, and I'm not getting any help. And that is frustrating, and it makes it look like somebody who's crazy. Two down. At least I won't have to wonder about what to do about dinner. My stomach will be full. You know, in ancient times, it was either the Roman or the Greek Empire. I think it was the Roman Empire. And the Nordic Empire. Like all of the ancient civilizations had either wine or beer as a staple in their diet because it was so rich in calories. Now we've got a situation today where the United States has more alcoholics than any other nation in the world because people like to binge drink. Well, you know, it's a football game, or, you know, we're going to a drinking party, or we're going to a keg party. Yeah, there's going to be a keg there. Yeah. Binge drinking turns into addiction. Other countries that don't have laws about drinking age don't have the same problem with addiction that the United States does. It's a really unique problem. I don't know how to tackle it other than to just lift the drinking age. Yeah, there's a lot that we do wrong as a country that a lot of other nations are actually doing right. Like Iceland just recently went to a 4-day work week. No pay cut. They just work now 4 days instead of 5. Huge success. Wouldn't that be nice in the United States? It would give people more time to spend with their families. people would be able to pursue their hobbies and interests more. They could get away for a long weekend and not have to take a day off work. More time to go to the grocery store and run errands. Because let's face it, what do you do on your days off? You take care of life, right? Because you can't do it while you're at work. You're working. So when you're not working, you're taking care of what is required to live, which involves paying bills, running errands, house upkeep, cleaning, all sorts of other things. I'm just a guy with ideas. That's all I am. I thought for sure that the FBI would be interested in talking to me after I explained that I have experienced 60% loss of my lower front jawbone, and it's due to electronic harassment. I thought for sure that they'd be very eager to talk to me. No. Either because they know it's true, or because they just don't want to mess with it. It's too messy. Well, the local authorities took care of that with all of the 21 mental health evaluations. 21! What the? So with those 21, they finally got a diagnosis that will mean that I won't be believed by the FBI. Oh, goody. Phew, that was close. Well, I'm not going to sit here and pound more beer. I've decided that damaging my body like that isn't really the way to get my point across. So if there's another video that I do tonight, it will be a continuation of this one. I just won't have the proof that it's, ongoing. It's okay. Believe what you believe, and you'll get what you deserve.